Good evening and welcome to this very special edition of MWR CEO Live. Mike Randolph here, coming to you directly from MWR's New England Regional Office right here, just north of Boston, Massachusetts. Before we get started this evening, I just want to remind everyone that this session is for the education and training of our marketing directors and is not intended for distribution to the public. We will be discussing information regarding our memberships and our revenue sharing plan. Please be aware that any projections or testimonials shared this evening are for illustration purposes and are not intended to serve as a guarantee of results. For more information, as always, please visit makewealthreal.com. And with that, it's time to get started. But before we bring on our special guest host this evening, just want to remind everyone of a couple things happening this week. Number one, it is a short week, but we still have our Lunch and Learn set up for Wednesday. This is the fourth Wednesday of the month, which means this week's Lunch and Learn is all about MWR Fundable 360. You already know where to tune in. That is right here, the same address, mwr.live. Also, when to tune in? Yeah, that would be 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. So if you're on the West Coast, it might be a breakfast and learn, but that doesn't sound as cool as lunch and learn. Also, don't forget our blitz from last week may be over or at least paused for the moment, but we still have two amazing promotions taking place right now. The MWR Silver Bullet promotion through the end of the month at midnight. Use the VIP code SILVER to waive the $100 business setup fee on every new QMD enrollment. Also, and we encourage everyone, use that savings to get plugged in to our silver rental program. Remember, between now, and the end of the month, every ounce counts, which means all you need is a minimum of 1 ounce of silver to participate in our silver rental program. Not 5 ounces, not 50 ounces, not 500 ounces or 5,000 ounces, simply 1 ounce, and you can be grandfathered into every silver rental program as we move forward. You do not want to miss that. All right, with that, it's time to turn things over to our special guest host for this evening. You know this gentleman. He is the man with the silver touch. He used to have a gold touch, but we found out silver is so much better. So let's turn things over to my friend and yours, founder and CEO of Make Wealth Real, the one and only, our CEO, Mr. Brian House. Brian, let me stop that pesky screen share, turn things over to you. I know you've got a lot of fun planned tonight. So I'm going to mute myself. I'm here if you need me, but take it away.
All right. Thanks so much, Mike. I greatly appreciate it, buddy. And listen, I am extremely excited tonight, guys. We obviously have a special guest on here. Mike covered some announcements, but I want to kind of set the stage because I want to get right into this tonight with our special guest. And when I set the stage, I'm going to tell you what I mean by that. I'm going to prepare you a little bit for what you're going to hear, but I doubt any of you are going to be prepared for what you're going to hear. I've been blessed to be able to get to know this gentleman over the last couple of weeks. But Mike Randolph, our vice president, who you just heard from, has had a relationship, known this gentleman for years. And I am telling you, there are very few people in life that really make an unbelievable first impression. And this gentleman has definitely done that. At least he has with me. I know he already did that with Mike. And so I can't wait for you to hear from him. But I also want to just fill you in a little bit on why we're having him on tonight. Okay. And I'll just say this. You know, at MWR, we focus on utilizing experts in order to be able to get you results. Okay. When it comes to your finances, whether it's saving, making, or growing your money, MWR provides you with a team of experts that is going to help you every step of the way with every bit of that process. But there's also, another side of that. And that's when it comes to building your business, when it comes to sharing MWR with others. Not only do we use experts for our service side, but us as a company, we use experts. We use experts to make sure that we're always getting cutting edge information, that we're always providing you with the best, smartest, simplest, fastest ways to be able to grow your business effectively. That's why we have this gentleman on tonight. All right. I'm not going to drag this out. I'm trying to stall a little bit because I see a lot of people coming on, but I want you to hear from him tonight and his perspective on this industry. And I cannot think of anybody better to do this, okay, than the gentleman we're getting ready to bring up. And here's why I say this. He is the chairman of the DSEF. Okay. That is the Direct Selling Executive Forum. All right. This is an organization that keeps their finger on the pulse of what works in this industry, what doesn't work in this industry. And they don't just talk about it, they actually back it up with data. They collect the data to be able to determine what people are utilizing, whether it's technology or their approach or anything to do with building their business. What is the most effective path for people to be able to win in this industry and use the right tools, systems, technology in order to be able to make that happen? And we've got some special things coming up here in the very near future with this gentleman. So you're going to see more of him. But tonight, I want you guys to hear from him directly. I want you to hear, his expertise, not our expertise. Because again, just like you, we use experts too. Okay. We don't ever want to teach you or talk to you about things based on theory. Okay. Because we could literally set you up for failure just because we have a good idea. If we don't have proof of concept, if we don't have, the data to back it up, and we can't show where we've proven it or someone else has proven it in order for it to be real, we would be shooting ourselves in the foot introducing that to you. Because literally, we could set you up to fail, and that could cause the company to fail. We're not ever going to do that, guys. We always want to make sure that the information we share with you is information that is based on facts and proven results, okay? Not hype, not fiction, but something that's actually proven, okay? So with that, I'm going to bring up our guest, all right? And do me a favor with your, what's it called, Mike? Your reactions. Do me a favor. Give him some fire emojis, some claps, some hearts, whatever it is. But I want to introduce you guys to none other than the incredible Mr. Ben Dixon. Hey, Ben, how are you, buddy?
Doing great, Brian. Thanks so much for inviting me out here this evening. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, thank you. We're humbled and honored that you're here with us. I can tell you that. And listen, we've had some great discussions. And tonight I get to take off the CEO hat and play interviewer. Okay. And I'm not a great interviewer, but I can tell you this, when you've got a great guy to interview, it kind of makes it easy. All right. So I've blown you up. I've blown you up. I've touted you as this amazing expert. But now I'm going to do the tough interview question. Okay. Why in the heck should anybody on here believe that you are actually an expert in this industry or in this field?
Well, fair enough. Well, in the theme of Thanksgiving this week, I think that all starts with just gratefulness. I'm grateful for this industry. Referral marketing changed my family's life forever. I grew up in a small farm town west of Chicagoland in central Illinois and fell into this industry through my sister. I know many of us, I think, found direct sales through, a trusted relationship or someone we knew. I grew up in a big family, 6 kids. I'm one of the younger middle kids. And my eldest sister got into direct selling just because she couldn't afford having a family. Her and her husband were school teachers, and they were looking at the math of their teacher income in Chicago and said, well, we can afford to have a family when we're 40 years old. Maybe we should start having kids when we're 40 because they were 23 and never going to make it. And I watched her join a space selling real estate education information. So here we're doing financial service, and different financial services with Silver and the rental program and everything that's done. And there she was selling education. And I watched her have a lot of success in that space. So I saw what was possible for somebody first when I was exposed to the space. In her very first year, she was one of those wild stories where she made over six figures in income in $2,003, right? In her very first year in direct selling. And I said, man, if my sister can do that, I wonder what I can do. But the reason you should listen is that I didn't follow the proven path. When I enrolled on my 18th birthday in that business, I made $0 on my first year thinking I knew it all after watching her success and got humbled big time. And so many times I think that we overcomplicate this business. And there's been different seasons since the early 2000s where this business has changed significantly. And then there's certain parts that have remained the absolute same ever since. And so from our story, we went on to, my wife and I, to be top earners in that company. We were multiple six-figure earners at a really young age, and it changed our life forever. We bought enough real estate and assets that we had just complete time freedom to choose what to do with our time. I then moved into serving the industry as a whole and started a software company that served two of the largest health and wellness companies in the space. And I sold that company to one of the larger CRM providers in the space 15 years ago. And then since then have built back offices, commission systems, marketing platforms for over 170 companies like Make Wealth Grow across the world. And then in 2018 started the DSEF. And we've been blessed to have over 70 of the top executives in our space. Brian's coming soon, gang. We're going to have him speak on the event soon. So he'll be on our podcast real soon. We'll be showcasing Mr. Brian House. But we've had over 70 the top executives in our space speak on the DSEF show, sharing their frameworks of what's relevant, what's actually meaningful today, and what is timeless, and then what's not, and what traps to avoid. And so when Brian talked about kind of a state of the union call coming into, December, we're just going into Thanksgiving, what do we talk about? I said, I would love to come share some of the frameworks of what we see that's still helpful and still timeless and what's not, and what's cringy, what's not getting a good reaction out in the market today. And so just grateful to be here, Brian. So thank you so much for inviting me out.
No, man, that was a great explanation, and I'll tell you this. I think one of the things that really is important is that, guys, Ben's been in the field, so he's been out there in the trenches. He knows what it's like to be a representative in a network marketing company and a successful representative. And one of the things you guys always see us do, Ben, we try to make sure that our leadership is the ones that do most of the training in our company. And the reason we do that, and I hate the word training, I'm going to say mentoring, coaching, and education, just because I don't like the word training. But at the same time, they do that because they're in the field every day. So they're sharing what they know and their experience. And I think that's huge. But the fact that you've got, a couple of decades plus in this business, guys, I know I don't think he ages at all. I mean, he still looks like he's about 25. But yeah, there you go.
Gorgeous wife keeps me young. It's all right. But we're the same age. No one believes us. If you think I don't age, wait till when you meet Kaylani. She's been frozen in time since we were 18 together. It's incredible.
I love it. I love it. Well, I'm blessed too. My wife, she doesn't ever seem to age. And what she saw in me, I have no clue, Ben. But
that's the we ever closed of our lives. That's what I say.
Exactly. Yeah, I definitely outkicked my coverage. That's for sure. But what I will tell you is that your experience is extremely important. But the fact that you've serviced over 170 companies in this industry, and because of that, I know you've been able to collect a lot of data. You've seen all the things that have came down the pike. And listen, I am a 35-year veteran of the network marketing industry. So I've seen everything from lead generation systems to to email marketing, to text campaigns, to, believe it or not, I've even seen back when they used to be able to generate leads using fax, which didn't work very well. Okay.
So Fax on Demand was our first product at the company of today. We had Fax on Demand was our initial product. And you're right. If you didn't have the right one-page hook copy to get someone's attention, imagine trying to sell someone. We think of all these beautiful videos or shorts on YouTube you have today to communicate your message. Brian's not wrong, gang. We used to use a piece of paper, a fax on demand is what we used to use to tell the story.
Right. And now we've really dated ourselves, Ben.
But Brian, what you just said isn't wrong. Gang, when I talked about being a multiple six-figure earner in direct selling, I didn't have a replicated website. That was with a fax machine. I had a fax machine. My first six figures in this industry was on a fax machine. Just so you know,
It's it's
you
funny you say
got
that
it
because people
good.
don't know how easy they have it these days with the technology that's out there, cell phones and social media and just so many different avenues that you
Yeah.
can utilize. I know too, I've seen, and even now I see people talking about funnels and AI and all
Yeah.
the different technology that's available. And I think all these things are great, but I also know just from experience, but also consulting with you and other experts in our industry that have the data, that have seen the facts, that know, what works and what doesn't work, you know, how it should be used and how it shouldn't be used, this
Yeah.
technology. And so I'm going to let you kind of expand on it and just give your perspective on what you see, happening and
Sure.
how people should utilize technology.
And there's a couple big macro forces to think about, everyone, as Brian sets up that thought, is that you think about the way the world shifted in so many areas. What gets tough about, like when I started in direct sales network marketing, we had a fax machine and a phone, right? And that was it. We had a phone and a fax machine. If you were Amish, you wrote letters and served people letters, but besides your Amish team, you were on the phone or the fax machine. And that's where I started in this space. And then we did lots of physical events because those were the modes. And back then, top 40 was the only music there is out there, right? There's very few radio stations, very few musicians got super popular, right? And then you look at today and how the world's changed. We have lots of different ways we communicate today, right? We communicate on Facebook, we communicate on Instagram, we communicate on LinkedIn, we communicate on WhatsApp, we communicate on messaging threads and all kinds of different apps. And it's just like Spotify, right? You get on music today, there's tons of micro genres of music because our music world is splintered, just like our communication world is splintered. The part you have to remember, though, of the timeless piece is at the end of the day, we're humans, and the person buying from you is a person. Okay, it's not a robot, it's not a bot. A human is who's making a purchase decision at the end of the day, and so you gotta put yourself in their shoes and think about how even your own journey, and it can be really helpful to understand how best to connect because they're only going to buy when there's a real human connection and there's a that when they make this decision themselves. A part of what's shifted in selling as a whole, and I'll talk about some of the macro forces like social media and how we're lonelier than we've ever been before because of it. In our world as Americans and young people, suicide rates are higher than they've ever been for young people. These are real trends, gang, that are not fun things to talk about, but is the way our world's been because of loneliness. And so people are seeking community, seeking to do life with people. And we're also in a place in our culture where we're looking for something authentic and something real. And the way we sell's changed. In the past, many of you, and we'll just throw it in the chat. And yes, you get to collaborate, gang, on this call. This is not a seminar where you don't say anything. You can blow up the chat. By the way, I have the chat open for you, and I'm seeing it and I'm reading it. And so as we talk, if there's something that you hear that's awesome between Brian and I today, I want you to drop the word bingo in the chat. Some of the other folks might be multitasking. They got Monday Night Football on and other stuff, and they're not paying attention. I want you to wake them up for the other couple hundred people are here on the line. So drop the word bingo in the chat. Here's something that's really good, right? And then throw your questions in as we're going. Okay, today. So go ahead and try that if you haven't done it yet. Just drop bingo right in the chat. Just go ahead and type it in there so you know how to do it. All right, you guys got it cranking. So you guys see what it looks like and how to do
I,
your chats.
Ben, I'm not sure our chat is open. Mike, do you have our chat open?
Oh, it's only hosts and panelists. Look at that. I'm throwing in the chat
Can
and
I
it's
can I click
up.
everyone?
Yeah, you're welcome to open it up just because it's good Q&A as we jump in, gang,
I
into
love it.
today's topic. Now, let's talk about the macro forces here because there's some really big ones you have to be thinking about in our world beyond loneliness and beyond how social media has actually made us more separate instead of less together today of what we're seeing. People are looking to make the buying decision their own. So let me walk through this. How many of you from the chat, or you can just throw an emoji, have heard of problem solution selling, right? Problem solution selling that, you know, all you're hoping is that, this person, you tell them, hey, what keeps you up at night? And they say, oh, it's my financial stability, in my life and how I'm going to save for XYZ. And you say, oh, it's your lucky day because I got the solution. It's MWR Financial. And they're like, yes, my hero has come, right? And that is how the sales process is supposed to happen. Problem, solution, selling, right? And how many of you realize that that's not how people are buying today? That they're not buying through problem solution selling, right? Well, you'd be right. There's a great book called Story Brand you can read by one of my, I always give book recommendations on these. Donald Miller's book, Business Made Simple, and his follow-up book, Story Brand, talks about how the brands that win today do not sound like problem solution selling. If you were going to pick a song that sounded like problem solution selling, it would be that great hit, I Can Be Your Hero Baby, right? You got a problem, I got the solution, I can be your hero baby. We, the brand, MWR, are the hero, and you are the one with the problem. Good, lucky for you, you found us today. That is what a brand sounds like. And if you understand, the consumer today thinks of that as a little bit cringy. They think of that as kind of, I don't know, those guys really who they say they are. They don't always get it. Now, what do modern brands sound like, and where are we going with MWR? Well, modern brands today make the customer the hero. See, they're on their own journey. They're on their own journey to go to their promised land, right? And who are we at MWR? We're just the guide. We're just the guide. They're Frodo. We're Gandalf. Okay, for all those Lord of the Rings nerds, right? All those Harry Potter nerds, they're Harry. We're not Harry. They're Harry. Okay, and they're the hero on their own journey. So what does the guide do? He asks great questions, right? The guide asks great questions and connects and listens, has some compassion in their world. And this is where technology becomes really important. I love technology to replace those $5 an hour tasks, those $10 an hour tasks, those $20 an hour tasks. But it doesn't replace the $100 an hour tasks that I do, right? Or the $1,000 an hour tasks that I do, right? And so you have to be really clear about where you're using tech, where you're using AI in your life. I use it all the time, but I use it for the cheap replaceable tasks, not the ones where the human connection is critical. So let's unpack what this can look like in your life. Just when you think about it, of like, well, where do you use some of the tech and not? And what are some of the pitfalls? So I'll give you a good example. One of my favorite places to use AI today is to find people's phone numbers. There are a ton of free systems out there that cost nothing to join, that will allow you to pull a phone number from somebody. If you have their LinkedIn profile, if you have their Facebook profile, you can drop it in and poof, you got their cell phone, right? Now, I used to search all over the internet and go into Google Zone for 20 minutes to go find somebody's phone number, right? And I could give them a call. And now it takes half a second in a Chrome extension. I can click and boop, got their phone number. But I still get up and call. I still put the number in my phone and call. I still text. I still reach out and connect and have a real conversation. See, it's the way you think about it like that. Now, what for our time tonight, let's talk about the state of the industry and where we've gotten away from success. So because of technology and because of channels, right? Many of us get confused because we hear, I need to be on TikTok, or I need to be on LinkedIn, or, oh, if you're not on Facebook, you're missing out. And we think of them like tools in the tool belt, but we're missing it. You should be thinking about them like congregations of people. Okay, so I hope this picture is helpful to you. There is a certain group of people that hang out on LinkedIn. If I were you, I would think about it like a party. And there's certain people at that party. For context, Facebook is a different party than is LinkedIn, than is TikTok, than is Instagram. There's tons of data that tells you where people go when subconsciously. So when do people go on their LinkedIn? All of you guys in the chat, when do they go on to LinkedIn? When they're thinking about money and career in their life. Do you guys know when they go on to Facebook? When they're bored. It's the dopamine receptor. You just get right back. When you're bored, that's what the studies say. You go to Facebook when you're bored. Sometimes you're on Facebook. How many of you can throw an emoji in here. If this is you, put the thumbs down emoji because this is you and you've caught yourself. How many of you were on Facebook and you got bored? So you opened a new tab in your web browser and went back to Facebook subconsciously, and you opened a new tab of a refresh of Facebook. You know it's you. You've done this because subconsciously Facebook's supposed to solve your boredom, right? In our world. So this is what's important. Stop thinking about them like separate tools and start thinking about them like people congregating for a purpose. See, if I go to a barbecue after church at Brian's house and I put on a t-shirt that says, "Learn how to make money with silver, call now." And I'm in the backyard and I stand on his picnic table while everyone's eating their hamburger and I get frustrated that no one's pulling out their cell phone and dialing the number on my t-shirt. Is that my problem or their problem? No, that's my problem. I am not speaking the correct context in that setting to the people who are there, right? It would be much better to not wear the t-shirt with the phone number, call now, learn how to make money with silver. It would be way better if I just walked around and asked questions to people about their name, where they're at in their life, what their goals are, what they're looking to accomplish this year. Just say, yeah, I'm just someone who's fascinated with biohacking and human accomplishment, what people are going after. I love people winning in life. I wanted to hear what you're up to. Yeah, what's new? Where are you stretching? Where are you growing? That would have been the right context to connect with someone at Brian's house, at Brian House's house. There's a tongue twister, right? For you. So that's the way to be thinking about the different technologies. So where have we gone wrong? What is the data saying? We're trying too many things at the same time. Okay, we're not sticking through methods to get all the way through. The challenge we're running into many times in our referral marketing companies right now is that we got 17 different ways to recruit someone online and 16 different ways in person to tell someone the story. So where have we seen success? What would be my encouragement for you as you head into the next year? It would be to get really good at one way to bring people into this experience, to invite people into MWR when you're knee to knee, when you're in person, okay? When you're physically with someone, what should that look like and how do you master it? What is the one way? And now we're not always knee to knee. We're not always right next to somebody having a great conversation over dinner or lunch or a meal or coffee. So what else do we need? We need one way. We don't need 10. We don't need 20. We don't need 30. We don't need 10 to the 10th power of how many times they act. We need one way online when someone's not physically in my home to be able to take a look and make a decision if MWR is right for their family. Okay, now let's talk about positioning those ways. Okay, those ways can look like a couple different things. Those are things we're praying through, thinking about, right, in our world. But how do you position it today? How do you approach someone over MWR today if it's not problem solution selling, but if they're the hero on their own journey? Well, you ask questions. So if you're taking notes today, you got to ask some questions and then lead with the negative. What in the world? Lead with the negative. Where does that data come from? It actually comes from the Guinness Book of World Records #1 book on sales. Got released with Alex Hormozi earlier this year. Okay, what are we talking about? Alex Hormozi's own sales team tested this. And I'm going to walk you guys through it today. So I'm looking on the list here. I'm going to pick on Angela Richardson because she's in the chat. Thank you, Angela, for being there and having a name that starts with A. It makes you at the top with all the people on. So if I'm inviting Angela to check out MWR on a webinar, just like what we're on today, right? Where she's going to take a look at this and make a decision if this is what's right for her family. I'm going to call Angela, my friend, and say, "Hey, Angela, it's great to catch up with you. I know you weren't expecting my call. The reason I'm reaching out is because my wife and I have been looking at different things that we can learn and do that are not our regular job to earn extra income. And we've found a program with precious metals that has been really exciting for us. Now, I have no idea at all if it's a fit for you, but I'm going to one of their programs later tonight. And I was just curious, would you be opposed? Here's the negative. Would you be opposed to me sending you a link so you can check it out? They have some extra seats." What is she going to say? No. And a no is yes. And would you be opposed to me sending you a link? No, I wouldn't be opposed. Perfect. I'll send you the link. She can make her own decision, right? If you're doing a physical event at a luncheon, hey, I'm getting together with a group of guys who are talking about how to earn with silver and precious metals in this economy. I was just curious. I have 3 lunch tickets. Would you be opposed to me saving one of the tickets for you so you could come to lunch with us this next week? No, I wouldn't be opposed. Perfect. I'll get you the ticket. So you lead with the negative today. She's the hero on her own journey. Angela's leading her own tribe. She's doing her own thing at the Richardson house, right? And that's good. I'm just inviting her. I'm just the guide. She's the hero. Hearing that? You gotta hear that. That's where we're going, gang, in our language and the way we speak to others. And people, so you've heard it before. People don't care what you know till they know that you care. Yeah, the line's still true. That one's timeless. Hasn't ended, right? People also make the buying decision themselves for their own reasons, not for yours. So, so there's actually never a moment that you've convinced or coerced them to join MWR Life. You've only invited them. And some of you still operate in this attitude of desperation, and it's destroying your success. And it's not fun. You feel belittled, and they feel like, wow, something horrible is going on in Tony's life when you invite them. And so let's talk about that. Realize that you do need enrollments to earn commissions in this program, but you don't need them. Okay. And it's one of the most freeing things I ever remembered was that of course we're all selling, but we're not convincing and coercing. We're really sorting, right? We're presenting information and creating an invitation, but they're making the decision at the end of the day. And once you get good at this, you're going to be amazed at what numbers it really takes to be successful because your numbers will change. There's income math here to the real work, where if you just get good at inviting for many of you and just teeing up, creating curiosity, you'll figure out the rest at the right time. The stats we see right now on new enrollments are critical inside of the space. So write this one down, gang. Every person you enroll in MWR Life needs to earn at least $1 in their first 14 days. Because you know what the math says? The data right now says if they earn at least $1, okay, they don't have to earn a lot, but if they earn $1 in their first 14 days, they are 27 times more likely to be here with you in a year on the team. 2,700% increase. 27x more times. So we if we're going to build this culture and this community, people who love other people authentically and don't fake it till they make it, but simply invite people from where they're at, right? You don't have to go out there and buy an extra watch unless you like watches, right? Just wear the watch you like. You don't have to buy some flashy watch just to impress people. You don't have to buy a fancy car just to impress people that don't know who you are. You literally can just you do you and be the guide. And if you invite other people to take a look, let them make their own decision and make it about them and not about you, you can do really, really well in this space. But a lot of you operate out of desperation where you need everybody. When you need everybody, it actually repels them instead of you just simply inviting them to make a decision. And you can be firm with that without being rude. I could say, Angela, what did you like best? Right? Hey, I don't know if it was a fit for you or not, but they are doing another event for the people who are getting started. There's a training coming up. And if you were serious about it, I did want to make sure I helped you get a ticket. So I'm going to be going to that event. Did you want a ticket? It's just really simple, gang. That's what it is. It's confident and leading, but it's never fake. It's never hypey. It doesn't have to be cringy. You don't have to overpromise or offer extra things that the company doesn't include. If you find yourself falling in that trap, some of you are in who's bonus Bonnie? Are you bonus Bonnie here on the line? Who's dropping all those extra bonuses? If you join MWR Life this week, I'm going to give you this and this and this and this extra, and you're giving away all your commission. That's not going to duplicate in your team, gang. Don't do it. Don't do it. You want to stick to just honestly inviting others, letting them make their own decision, and looking at the ways we're going to make that easier. And some of the stuff we're working on here is ways we can serve as leaders to have that culture of guides and them being the hero on their own journey. It's a lot of what we're talking about for the future here. That's good stuff. So, Brian, would you like me to share some of the things we've seen on the technology that has worked inside of that space? Of some of
Yeah,
the
I mean you can, but I'm gonna touch on a few
Oh,
things real
let's do it.
quick,
Go for it.
because there's some things you said, Ben, that I hope everybody caught. And one is, which is such a, it's the opposite of what almost everybody in this industry has ever been taught. your goal was always to get people saying yes. And you're saying lead with a negative. And I think it's absolutely phenomenal because when you think about it, it's almost offensive for somebody to tell you, yes, they would be opposed. You know what I mean? Would you be opposed, to me sending you some information or me sending you a link to
Very
be
good
able to
question.
jump on tonight? It creates this mind shift with people that it makes them not want to offend you in some ways. Or at least that's how I would feel about it. Anybody asked me that question, I'd be like, well, no, I wouldn't be opposed. Why would I be opposed? You know,
That's
I
what I
think I
thought.
love
Here's the link. Yep.
it. Here's the link,
Here you go.
So I love that. The other thing is what's unique with us is that Ben, and we haven't had a ton of discussions about this, but one of the things I'm the most proud of with MWR Financial, is the fact that I can stand in front of a room of 500, 1,000 members in MWR, and I can ask everyone in that room, you know, who here, stand up, please, who here is making more money or saving more money or their money is growing more every month than what it cost you to be involved with MWR. And everybody in the room will stand up. It's the only company in this industry I've ever seen that puts more money in our members' pockets every month than what it costs them to participate, whether they build a big team or not. Okay. And I think that's phenomenal. But when you say put $1 in someone's pocket in 14 days, and they are more likely to be here, 27 times more likely
Yep.
to be here next year at this time. Well, we can multiply that dollar by many because our average just savings with our experts is about $700 per month
Incredible.
in weeks, within weeks, Ben, not to mention what they can earn through the revenue sharing plan. So unbelievable. So those are a few takeaways that I got from that I think are so uh, one relevant, but really just a totally different perspective than what everybody that I know of in this industry is used to or teaches, you know, teaches. So, but yes, let's touch on
Yeah.
some things because one, I want you to speak to authenticity. We're obviously in a financial business to where people don't want hype.
Yeah.
They don't want, some flashy sales pitch. They want authenticity
Yeah.
and they want real. And so would you touch on that
Yeah,
before?
and you want and the way you want authenticity is for them to see other real people who are just like them, to where their feeling is, oh my gosh, if Joey can do this, well then I can do this. And that's where authenticity is really valuable and it's not cringy. Like if everyone's so polished and everything's so over the top, they're just like, man, there's no way I could fit into this or that's not my stuff. And sometimes we look too good in our world. So I'll give you some quick examples of how I've seen this work really well in different companies. Some companies have made it as simple as saying, okay, this is how we do our physical events, and we always have two to three at a minimum, right? We don't do it solo. There's not only one, MWR marketer at a physical event. There's always three, and they do the presentation this way, where this person opens and edifies, this person presents, this person does the comp plan, and then they close, right? And they're very clear about the three people specifically being there every time it's presented so that there's this community and this relationship and where people can see themselves and others, right? Because the core four objections to getting started are not enough time, not enough money, knowledge, and fear. And so can they see, oh wow, John didn't have a lot of money but got started anyway and was successful, or Marcy was afraid she tried stuff before in the past that failed but did it anyway, or Mark didn't think he was smart enough but he got started and it worked out anyway. We want people to feel that way in our physical events, whether we're in the back of a Panera Bread at a hotel meeting in some big conference room or in a home. Okay, so that's important. When it comes to online building, we that same authentic type of building is where we're getting the biggest bang for our buck today. The challenge we have with traditional webinars like this that we're on with many times is that we don't know who invited who. So when we present we can't close. We have no idea who invited who. We end up saying it back to the person who invited you to get started. And so some of the technology we've seen be most valuable today is simply setting up your live streams in a place where you're tracking who invited who so that you can have join buttons on your webinar that people can say, click below and sign up today. Because now you can create a presentation where you, as the leaders who are here on the line, can take turns and you can all build as one team. We've seen people do this where they do blitzes, like 3-day blitzes and 7-day blitzes. We've seen companies do this weekly. We've even seen companies do it daily, right? Where it became such a part of their culture that just every day there was a webinar happening. And it's usually the same time and the same link every day. But what's special about that in your culture is everyone's building, with one message, one story. It's very simple, and nobody who's new in the company needs to pretend they're more successful than they are yet or where they're at in their own journey when they're inviting others. And it's more about, hey, I don't know if this is a fit for you, Anna, but they're doing an event later tonight at 8 Eastern. I wanted to, would you be opposed to me sending you a link so you could see it? And that's very authentic and real. It's not about, well, how much money have you earned so far? Or how has the savings program worked out for you so far? It's more just about them with their own goals and them getting started on their side. And so that's what I've seen to really resonate with young people today and with just folks in our world. There's a lot that's fake online. You see all of the fake, even videos of politicians and everything else on social media. We don't even know what's real. Oh, did he really say that? I don't know. Maybe he was duped on AI on a podcast or something. Like, we live in this very untrusting world because you get on social media and you're like, no, dad, you got duped. That wasn't real. No, he didn't say that. He never said that. That's a fake AI deep fake. You have no idea. And so we live in this world where it's kind of weird, right? So you come onto a webinar and you see real people in their homes, in their offices, sharing a real story of what MWR did in their life with MWR Financial, and you sit there and say, okay, and these guys are legitimate real people. And that's the feeling we want to create for people, is that we're humans just like them, who have fears and challenges just like them, who don't make the right decisions all the time and have failed before, but are grateful for what MWR Financial's done in our life, right? And that becomes appealing, that becomes attractive to others. Like when other people can see families who took this on and got those results, Brian, and they realize, man, I'm no different than them, then they take action. And that's been the way my whole life. Like, I got into this space. It wasn't just watching my sister's success when I was younger. I specifically remember my sister said, "Would you be opposed to coming along to a training?" Right? She did that to me. I went to a Super Saturday, right? And at the Super Saturday, there was a gal there from China who had married an American. She didn't speak English, and he was well off. He had done really well financially, but to have her learn English here in Chicagoland, he had her work at McDonald's, not because they needed the income, but he wanted his wife to learn English. And so here's this young Chinese gal. She's been in America for 18 months, learning English at McDonald's from her husband. And she had made 50 grand that month in that company, in that month, in her income. And I was sitting there as a 18-year-old American farm kid growing up saying, if Ting can make 50,000 bucks in this direct selling company this month, by gosh, I'm going to figure out whatever it is and just do it. Right? I had that moment where I said, if she can do it, I can do it. Right? Which she's proved me. And she's like, yeah, I've only been learning English for 18 months. I figured it out. And and I said, well, if she can do it, I can do it. Look at what she accomplished. And we want people to feel that way when they take a look at MWR. We want them to see other people who are regular with all your baggage, all the things that happened in your life, all the challenges you've been through, how God's been faithful in your life. And look, you ended up right here, right now, and you're just grateful for this platform and what it's done in your life. And your invitation to them is to make their own decision. Hey, I don't know if it's a fit for you or not either. It was for us. And they have a special right now. This is the invitation. If you want to get on the inside and see the training and take a look at what we actually do, I invite you to click below. There's a lot of other things. You're going to spend way more on one ticket to a Disney park than you will on joining MWR. So it's cheaper than one ticket to Disney or Orlando, and you can take on the finance in your life. So it's a pretty simple invitation, gang. But I think that the more real you make wealth real, right? Just like your name, the more attractive it'll be, right? It will. And
Yeah.
and don't be afraid of having people from all kinds of different walks of life share their story of what it's done in their life. I think that opens up doors for a lot of others who wonder if it's possible for them.
I love it. I love it. Hey, Ben, listen, I could keep you here all night. And I know we said we'd try to keep it to 35 minutes. So I don't want to keep you forever, but I am going to have you back. And because I know you mentioned some things, and I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag, but we're working on something that collectively and that I think is going to be amazing for the field. Uh, I think it is the right balance of technology and authenticity and all the things that we talked about tonight that is going to put them on a path to win like they never, you know, even imagined that they could, and simplify things in their business. But the reality of it is, Ben, this is a pretty simple business, and I think we overcomplicate it. You said focus on one thing. There's too many different options out there that if you focus on one thing and you get really, really good at it, that's where your success comes in. I firmly believe that. You look at every, successful athlete out there, or even, some of the great businessmen and investors and things like that. They were all great at one thing first. They may have parlayed that into multiple things later, but they were all great at one thing first. And so I think that's extremely important, keeping it simple. And when I say this business is simple, what I mean by that is that you just said it. All we got to do is be good at inviting in this business. That's it. That's it. You've got presentations done for you. You've got services done for you. You've got, your money making money for you. You've got everything in this platform. All you got to do is just get good at inviting. But go ahead. What were you going to say?
Focus as an acronym. Follow one course until successful.
Yes, exactly.
What does it mean? Well, you didn't get there yet. Like, let's just figure out one first. Then you can add another at your time. Yeah. But thank
I
you so
love
much for having me here. It was a total treat. I appreciate it.
Hey, listen, thank you so much. Again, we're going to have you back, and I can't wait for you to come back for us to roll out and discuss something else. So I'm just going to leave that as a hint, Ben. I'm not going
Yeah.
to spill the beans, but guys, what you love now is about to get just that much better. And before meeting Ben, I wasn't sure we could get better. Okay, I thought we already had the best, and I'll say it again. If there's something out there that can help you make more money, save more money, or grow your money better, if we can't buy it, we'll build it. Okay, or we will buy it. One of the two. And so I can't wait for you guys to see what's coming. But I do know this: we've got 7 days left, or 6 days left in these two incredible promotions. Take advantage of it because they're life changing for people. They're going to be able to participate in something that most people never even thought would have been possible for them. And so get out there and share it. Ben gave you some great information. You're going to be around family for the holidays. You're going to be around coworkers tomorrow. Have that genuine, authentic conversation with them, and just ask them if they would be opposed to taking a look, because they'll be glad they did. So with that, guys, I want to thank Ben Dixon. Greatly appreciate him being here. I want to thank Mike Randolph. I want to thank all of you for being here. I think you got some valuable information. This will not be the last time you see Ben Dixon, but share this information with other people. Share it with your teams that couldn't be on here tonight for whatever reason. I thought we had amazing attendance, but I know there's people that missed it. And we're going to make this recording available for you so that you can get it out there to everyone, because I think it paints the right picture about what we're doing. This business is simple, but it's a relationship business. It's a relationship business, okay? And the relationships we form in this business create communities that last. And community is the key to success, I can tell you, especially these days. So with that, thank you guys for being here. Thanks, Ben. Thanks, Mike. And we'll see you tomorrow night. We have something special getting ready to happen. We're at 9 o'clock. You're going to see this tomorrow. We're going to have our first ever Precious Metals Profit Party, where we're going to do recognition. We're going to give away prizes. Somebody's going to get some ounces of silver. Okay. In addition to that, invite your guests because you want them to be able to see the excitement as well. This is going to be on mwrvision.com. So we can open it up. Make sure you have your cameras on. Make sure you're ready to have some fun. Make sure you bring your guests, because guess what? If they're a guest on there and they identify themselves as guests, we're going to be picking some guests to give them their first ounce of silver if they choose to join MWR in your business tomorrow night. So let's have some fun, guys. Thank you all for being here. Love you all. Appreciate you a bunch. And I can't wait to see you tomorrow. Till tomorrow. Bye-bye.